What if everything you're feeling right now isn't a sign that something is wrong with you? What if it's actually the opposite? What if it's a sign that something in you is very, very awake? Anxiety has a narrative about itself that it repeats on loop. It tells you that you are out of control, that you are weak, that other people don't go through this the way you do, that there is something fundamentally broken in the way you were built. But that narrative is a lie, and today we are going to take it apart completely, not with breathing techniques you've already tried that work for 2 minutes before everything comes rushing back, not with motivational phrases that sound good but don't reach the place where anxiety actually lives, but with something deeper than that, with a completely different way of understanding what is happening inside you when anxiety shows up. Because when you truly understand what anxiety is, not the clinical version, not the textbook definition, but what it actually is, in the lived experience of someone feeling it from the inside, your relationship with it changes. And when your relationship with it changes, it loses the power it has over you right now. Not overnight, not magically, but in a way that is real, concrete, that you will start to feel before this video is even over. Anxiety has a very specific quality that makes it unlike any other feeling. It doesn't feel like one emotion. It feels like everything at once. It feels like your mind running 1,000 open tabs simultaneously, none of them loading completely, all of them demanding your attention at the same time. It feels like being fully awake inside a dream you can't control, like your body is preparing for something that hasn't happened yet and might never happen at all. And the worst part isn't the feeling itself. The worst part is the layer that comes on top of it, the voice that says something is wrong with you for feeling this way, the thought that other people don't struggle like this, the quiet shame of being someone who can't just calm down, just breathe, just let it go, the way everyone makes it sound so effortlessly simple. But here is something that nobody says with enough clarity. Anxiety is not a character flaw. It is not weakness. It is not evidence that something went fundamentally wrong in the way you were built. It is not a sign that you are breaking. It is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is an ancient protection mechanism that has kept human beings alive for hundreds of thousands of years. When your ancestors faced a predator in the wild, the body had to respond instantly, heart rate up, breath faster, muscles tensed, mind hyper-focused on every possible threat in every possible direction. That response saved lives. The problem is that your nervous system doesn't always know the difference between a physical predator and an unanswered email, between a life-threatening emergency and a difficult conversation you have to have tomorrow, between real danger and the fear of what other people might think of you. It responds to all of it with the same ancient alarm, and you, in the middle of modern life, in the middle of deadlines and relationships and uncertainty and the constant noise of a world that never fully turns off, you are carrying that alarm in your body every single day. That is not weakness. That is being human in a world that moves faster than the nervous system was ever designed to handle. So the first thing I want you to hear, really hear, is this. You are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are not failing at life because you feel this way. You are a human being with a nervous system that is working overtime to keep you safe in a world that gives it very little rest, and you deserve compassion for that, starting with your own. Now let's talk about what anxiety actually is at a deeper level, because understanding it changes your relationship with it, and changing your relationship with it is the beginning of everything. Most people relate to anxiety as an enemy, something to be defeated, suppressed, controlled, breathed through, until it finally stops. And while some of those approaches have their place, the foundational relationship of fighting against anxiety almost always makes it stronger. Because here is what anxiety is at its core. It is energy. Unprocessed, misdirected, accumulated energy that has nowhere to go. It is your body's response to something that needs attention, something unresolved, something feared, something avoided. Something that has been pushed down so many times that it stopped trying to be heard quietly and started screaming. When you fight against anxiety, when you try to suppress it, distract yourself from it, shame yourself for having it, you are essentially telling that energy to go away. And energy doesn't go away. It stores, it builds, it waits, and then it comes back louder than before. At 3 in the morning, in the middle of a conversation, in the stillness of a Sunday afternoon, when you thought you were finally okay. The shift that changes everything is not about eliminating anxiety. It is about changing how you relate to it. What if, instead of treating anxiety as the enemy, you treated it as a messenger that is carrying information about something in your life that needs attention, about a boundary that has been crossed too many times, about a need that hasn't been met, about a truth you haven't allowed yourself to fully see yet, about something you care about so deeply that the possibility of losing it or getting it wrong fills your entire body with alarm. Anxiety always has a reason. It is never random. It is never meaningless. And when you stop trying to make it disappear and start getting genuinely curious about what it is trying to tell you, something begins to shift. Not immediately, not dramatically, but something begins to shift. Because the moment you stop fighting your own experience and start listening to it, you stop spending energy on the battle, and that energy becomes available for something else, for understanding, for clarity, for the quiet courage that comes from actually knowing what is going on inside you instead of running from it. This doesn't mean you have to figure everything out right now. It means something simpler and more immediate than that. It means giving yourself permission to feel what you are feeling without adding the layer of judgment on top of it. Feel anxious, and let that be okay for right now. Not forever, not as a permanent state you are accepting, but for right now, in this moment. Let what is here be here without fighting it. Because what you resist persists, and what you allow to be seen begins to move. There is a practice so simple it almost sounds too small to matter, but the simplicity is exactly why it works. When anxiety rises, instead of immediately trying to make it stop, place one hand on your chest, right over your heart, and just feel the warmth of your own hand on your own body. That contact, that simple physical warmth, activates the part of your nervous system responsible for safety and calm. It sends a signal to your brain that you are not alone, that you are being held, even if the one holding you is yourself. It interrupts the spiral just long enough to create a small space between you and the feeling, and in that small space, something becomes possible that wasn't possible a moment before. Choice. Not the choice to never feel anxious again, but the choice of how you respond to what you are feeling. The choice to breathe a little deeper. The choice to speak to yourself a little more gently. The choice to ask, with genuine curiosity, what this feeling might be trying to show you. Anxiety narrows that space to almost nothing. It collapses the distance between what happens and your reaction to it, until everything feels urgent and overwhelming and immediate. The practices that help most are the ones that gently widen that space again, that give you back those few seconds between feeling and reacting, that remind your nervous system that you are safe enough to pause before responding, and none of them require you to be a different person than you are right now. None of them require you to have it all figured out. They only require your willingness to be present with yourself, even when being present feels uncomfortable. Especially when being present feels uncomfortable. There is something else about anxiety that almost nobody talks about with enough honesty. The people who feel the most anxiety are often the people who care the most deeply about doing things right, about the people they love, about the life they are trying to build, about showing up in a way that actually means something. Anxiety, in many cases, is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of depth. Of someone who is paying attention, of someone who takes their life seriously enough to feel the full weight of it. The same sensitivity that makes you anxious is the sensitivity that makes you kind, that makes you perceptive, that makes you someone other people trust with the things that really matter to them. That makes you capable of a quality of connection that people who feel less deeply simply cannot access. Your anxiety and your greatest gifts come from the exact same place inside you, which means the goal was never to become someone who doesn't feel so much. The goal is to become someone who knows how to be with what they feel without being consumed by it. Someone who can hold the depth of their own inner world without drowning in it. That is a skill, and like every skill, it develops with practice, with patience, and with the decision to stop being at war with yourself. Because here is the truth that anxiety never shows you, but that is always there underneath all the noise. You have survived every difficult moment you have ever faced, every hard day, every sleepless night, every moment when you were absolutely certain you could not handle what was happening. You are here, which means your survival rate so far is 100%. That is not a small thing. That is everything. You are stronger than the anxiety makes you feel right now. You are more capable than the fear suggests. You are more resilient than the worst version of your own story gives you credit for. And the version of you that exists on the other side of this difficult moment, the version that will look back at this time with a clarity that isn't available right now, that version already knows something you can't fully see yet, that this was part of the path, not a detour from it, that the sensitivity that makes you feel things so deeply is the same sensitivity that allows you to connect with others in ways that most people never can, that the depth of your inner world, as overwhelming as it feels sometimes, is also the source of your greatest gifts, that you are not too much. You have never been too much. You have just been looking for a place that was big enough to hold all of you, and this is that place. This hour, this quiet blue space, is yours. Every time the world feels like too much, every time the noise gets too loud, every time you need to be reminded that what you feel is real and valid and human, and that you are not alone in it, type this in the comments right now. I feel deeply because I live deeply. And that is not my weakness. That is my power. Not for anyone else to see. For you. Because the part of you that has been carrying this weight for so long deserves to hear something true. And what is true is that the depth you carry, as heavy as it feels right now, is also the most beautiful thing about you. Come back here whenever you need to. We will be here. And so will you. Because you always find your way back to yourself, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when the path is harder than it should be, even when the anxiety makes you forget for a moment who you really are, underneath all the noise, you find your way back. You always do.